welcome to Petrol Heads London. So one of the things I wanted to do when I started setting this up was I had a trip planned to the Netherlands on my motorbike, as this suggests, and I'm trying to just do something a little bit different. And what I want to do is make sure I'm kind of, you know, this should be about a lifestyle, it's not about reviews and stuff like that. And also, although saying that, that's probably what this is going to turn into, but also, you know, I've got a small number of subscribers and I'm really grateful for those people who are subscribing, and, you know, obviously we're trying to build on that regularly. But one of the things is, you know, looking at these other guys, is they document these road trips they go on, which is great if you've got masses of subscribers, but that's not really where I'm at the moment. I thought, so I didn't do a lot of vlogging on the trip. So actually, what I wanted to look at is how I can, you know, make that experience useful to people watching. And to me, it was around some of the things that I bought before I went away, and kind of like how useful they are. So let's talk about the headset first. So I've had a few headsets before, Bluetooth headsets, and, you know, up until that point, I'd never really used them. You know, to me, riding a bike is actually half the fun of it, is kind of almost the peace and quiet, the solitariness of it, and just kind of getting on with riding some nice roads. He says riding through a town, but we are heading out to the countryside now. So I've kind of always been a bit averse to sort of having something in your ear, or something that kind of, you know, is potentially a bit distracting. Longer journeys, so wanting to listen to your sat nav, especially before I had this bike where I couldn't really see the sat nav, so actually it was all about listening to it. So bought the sort of cheap Chinese knockoffs on eBay, and you know, they were alright, you know, not bad. The sound quality wasn't amazing, but one of the big things with the first one I had was that the connectivity with your phone kind of ducked in and out. It was pretty hit and miss about connecting to other people as well. A group of us bought a better one. Now the problem with that is it had lots and lots of buttons, so trying to connect to different people, you know, pretty much had to stand on one leg, press 4 keys. It was a bit like Control Alt Delete every time you wanted to change something. And when you've got big gloves on, it's sometimes quite difficult to do that. You know, if you take the philosophy buy once, buy right, which obviously I hadn't by that stage, but other guys were looking at the better Chinese eBay versions, and I thought, do you know what, let's just go to the guys who do this properly. I decided to go for the Sena 20S. Now the main reason for that is it connects with other non-Sena devices, so other Bluetooth devices. So we managed to get that up and running. Now my first observation would be that one thing I learned very quickly once there is you can only connect to one non-Sena device. I'd really love to try this out with other Sena devices actually. I think it would make a massive difference. Like the connection to non-Bluetooth devices was a bit hit and miss as well, if I'm honest. We got to the point where actually I couldn't connect to the guy with the other headset on. I'd have to sort of point to my helmet, at which point he would then connect to me, and then you know, it would work like that. And so it worked fine, but you know, not ideal. I should be able to connect to him, and we were, you know, trying to discuss directions or different routes. Sound quality is really, really good. The only thing, as I say, it's a little bit high pitched. It'd be great if you could sort of like manage the equalisation on it somewhat and kind of make some adjustments. But you know, it's definitely much better than the other ones. The only thing I would say is on max volume, when you've got earplugs in and I've got the sort of muffs over them underneath my earpads, it's probably at its limit. I'd like to be able to make it a bit louder. I was going to say, connecting to other Sena devices is really cool. You just shake it and it starts flashing green, and in theory if you've got another one, you just shake that and they'll just connect. I mean, like, just so much easier. Connecting with non-Bluetooth devices, you do have to go through quite a convoluted memory. Let's just whiz past this truck. So other things I would comment on. So we had fantastic sunshine for most of my trip through the Netherlands. However, we had one day, which was on the way back, where France had the worst weather in like 20 odd years. yellow weather warnings in something like 20 odd departments in France, or like their regions. I've never ridden in rain quite like it. It was pretty horrific, and that really put a lot of these things to the test. And actually, I think, you know, it's great. So I had to take the Sena headset off. It just unclips from the mount even, and I put it in. I have a little handlebar bag that I put it into charge for the duration sort of one leg of our trip, and then plugged it back on. Now, as a result of that, I think there was a bit of water ingress into the connections, and ever since then, and also the unit's waterproof, right? It's sort of like, you know, water resistant. It's not totally submersible, and you know, there was a lot of rain over about 8 hours. Yes, very unpleasant riding. So I think it just took its toll, and to be honest, therefore the headset connection was pretty poor throughout like the next leg of the journey. So it didn't bear up too well in really, really heavy rain. Haven't been out in rain again with it since. What this guy's doing. Let's take the special motorcycle lane. So in summary, really good headset. I think it needs a bit more testing. Is it much better than the others? I really don't know. I'd love to have another Sena headset to test it with. I think that would make the experience much better. And I think that's the problem is with these things, is you have to have everybody has to be in the same group in order to make it work. So anyway, I hope you found this useful. I mean, and the long and the short of it is, I think it's a great headset. I think it's a lot more reliable than some of the other Bluetooth ones in terms of connectivity, how it works with the sat-nav. Actually, the only downside of that is the sat-nav on the GS also plays music, and in order to do that, you don't connect it as a GPS, you therefore have to connect it as a phone, which means you don't get some of the cool features where it will like overlay the GPS you know, directions over your music, whereas actually with the intercom you just have it laying over rather than, you know, cutting in and out, which is actually quite cool. So I think it needs a bit more playing with. Just whether it's the best on the GS, I don't know. So, or the GS sat nav. So long and short is, yeah, good headset. Probably needs a bit further testing. Would love to test it with other Sena headsets. Anyway, hope you found this useful. This is Petrol Heads London. Remember to like and subscribe. And